The story of Robert the doll dates back to the early 1900s, when Thomas Otto and his family moved into a mansion at the corner of Eaton and Simonton Streets in Key West, Florida, now known as the Artist House. Their young boy, Robert Eugene Otto, was given a one-of-a-kind doll by his grandfather as a birthday gift. Robert Eugene Otto, who prefers to be called Gene, immediately feels bonded with the doll and named it after himself, Robert. It was merely an ordinary doll until one day, a woman who worked for the Otto family was fired abruptly without cause. Before she left, she reportedly used voodoo to put a curse on the doll as a form of revenge. Gene's love of his new toy went far beyond infatuation. He would carry it with him up and down the streets wherever he went, and he talked to people about the doll as if it were actually a living entity. Gene's parents would often hear their son upstairs talking to the doll and getting a response back in a totally different voice.
There's a worm in her head. You have to cut it out.
Soon, things began to get stranger around the Otto household. According to legend, Otto's parents would wake up in the middle of the night only to find the poor boy screaming and surrounded by overturned furniture. Household objects would be found thrown across the room, Gene's toys turned up mutilated, giggling and sighting of Robert running up the steps or staring out the upstairs window were also reported. Gene's parents naturally believed their son was behind the mischief. However, Gene always said Robert did it.
How did the doll do this? I can't keep help around this home for all the things you swear that Robert did. Locking doors, making noises in dark rooms, scaring the housekeepers. Now, I will not allow my son to make excuses. Robert is a doll.
As the creepy occurrences grew more and more, servants took their leave as new ones were hired. The Otto's relative felt it was time to do something. With the recommendations of a great aunt, Gene's parents removed Robert from his care and placed him in a box in the attic. It is claimed that the aunt that banished Robert to the attic died the same night that he was put there. Despite all of this, and despite his obvious fear of Robert as a child, Gene kept Robert as he grew up and into an adult. He worked as an artist and later married. Gene then decided that the doll needed a room of his own, and placed him in the upstairs room that had a window overlooking the street. Gene's wife felt uneasy with Robert in the house. She then took the doll and put it back to the attic. However, neighborhood children reported seeing Robert watching them from the window in the upstairs bedroom and told accounts of the doll actually mocking them as they walked to school. When Gene heard this, he immediately went to investigate, knowing that Robert was locked in the attic and there was no way he could be sitting by the window of the upstairs bedroom. But to his complete shock, when he opened the door to the bedroom, there was Robert, sitting in the rocking chair by the window. Gene locked Robert back up in the attic several times, each time discovering him again, sitting by the window in the same upstairs bedroom. It was also said that Robert would lock people in the attic. People who passed by claimed to hear evil laughter coming from the upstairs bedroom. After Otto died in 1974, a woman named Myrta Reuter purchased the artist's house, which meant Robert the doll had a brand new caretaker. Reuter lived with Robert for 20 years. It said she even took him with her when she moved to a new home in the 1980s. Finally, she donated the creepy toy to the Fort East Mortello Museum, claiming that the doll was indeed haunted. Staff at the museum claim that Robert has been found in different positions within his case, that footsteps have been heard around the museum at night with no apparent explanation for the noise. They even reported that Robert's facial expression changes and have been seen Robert put his hand up to the glass of his case. Visitors to the museum are given advice on how to approach Robert, to speak to him in a polite way, to ask his permission to photograph him, and to treat him with respect. If not, a curse will befall upon you and anyone who accompany you to the museum. So, be nice with your doll. Who knows, it might be cursed. Good night.